It's known by several names, from gyro to shawarma. Döner, which traces its origins back to the Ottoman era, is one of the most popular street foods in the world. While it's prepared in different ways in different countries, for Türkiye, its traditional dish needs to live up to certain standards to be considered an authentic döner. That's why it's applied to protect it under an EU law, as the nation also wants to set the record straight when it comes to döner's origin. Zeynep Gökçe has the story.
Türkiye and Greece might have agreed to warm up political ties, but the two neighbors still have beef with each other. In this case, the issue is the döner kebab. After Türkiye's application to protect the popular Turkish dish, the EU added it to its traditional speciality guaranteed list last month. That means there will be specific rules when it comes to its ingredients, preparation and cutting. For the Greek media, this is Türkiye's way of starting a döner war with Europe. In Greece, the dish is called gyro and is more popularly made from pork, whereas the original Turkish recipe consists mostly of lamb and beef. And then there's Germany, where the rising kebab prices have recently become a debate in the country. But the German people's obsession with döner also showed when their president brought his own kebab chef and meat during his trip to Türkiye last month. And here's how one person on X reacted to the latest culinary spat. Döner is German cuisine. Another one said, it's basically a Greek kebab. You eat it with French fries. Is it though? Well, its origin is debatable, but it's widely believed Turks invented vertical cooking during the Ottoman period. This image, said to have been taken in Istanbul, is one of the oldest images related to its history. But then there's this Turkish city, which also takes credit. More specifically, the Iskenderoğlu family, which has been in the döner kebab business since 1867.
We believe that it was horizontal, and then it became vertical by my great-grandfather Iskender and his father Mehmet. Dishes like this, it evolved and it takes its fine form. The form and dispute that we're talking about, the doner kebab right now, is actually the final form, we believe, it was taken here in Bursa.
And Iskenderoğlu adds that Türkiye needs to protect its rights.
When the imposter becomes more in numbers and the authentic version becomes the minority, you need to protect that minority. You need to protect how the Neapolitans protect the way of the pizza and how the other countries protect their own food and culture, because it's not just food anymore. This is culture. This is our identity.
And their customers also had a word about which döner is better.
They should come and eat it here and see who makes it better. Then they will understand.
And another customer compared it to the kebabs in Germany.
Everything tastes much better. It has a fresher meat and it's more buttery here.
If there aren't any objections in less than 3 months, Türkiye's döner application will be fully approved by the EU. But whatever the result, the consensus is people love döner, and no law will change that. Zeynep Gökçe, Straight Talk.
And for more on Turkey's bid to get döner special recognition in the EU, joining me from Paris is Pierre Raffard. He is a researcher at the Free Institute of International Relations and Political Sciences and a food consultant. Hello, Peter. And Pierre, thanks for joining me on Straight Talk. So why do you think Turkey has filed an application to the European Union requesting döner be granted a special protection label?
Actually, that's very interesting for the geographer I am, because actually I guess that Turkey understood that doner right now is kind of a global meal, and Turkey doesn't want this meal to be used and to be copied by other countries, other cultures, other chefs and other cooks.
So what does this special protection label entail, and how important of an issue is this for Turkey?
Yeah, that's important. I mean, for the moment, that's just a project to label the doner kebab. So we don't exactly know what there's inside this potential label. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I think the main idea First, it's to promote, to keep the traditional recipe, but also to promote the doner as one of the biggest success, food and culinary success all around the world.
So if accepted, doner would join other European dishes like Neapolitan pizza and Spain's jamon serrano. So besides giving it a cultural and legal protection, would such a label have any economic benefits for Turkey?
Actually, that's the $100 questions. Because I checked a little bit on the label, the registration, the will of protecting the meal. But the main idea, the main question is, okay, even if Turkey earns and wins this label, then what will happen? Will there be a protection? Will there be some control to prepare the traditional Turkish doner? So actually, that's a big question and a big question mark. But then also for Turkey, that's a very important economical issue, because I just remind you that the doner sector in Europe is more than 3 billion euros each year. So for Turkey, that could be a good economic opportunity, both to promote its culinary culture, but also to defend its economy.
So you've mentioned the doner economy in Europe generates around 3.5 billion euros a year. But how big of a figure is this when compared to other popular street foods in Europe?
That's a good question, but that's sometimes very difficult to answer, because compared to other street foods like burgers, like sushi, like pizza, as you said before, doner traditionally and historically was owned by independent cooks or independent entrepreneurs. So sometimes that's very difficult to get relevant data about this sector. But for sure, that's one of the biggest sectors, because it's very obvious, doner is one of the most consumed street food all around Europe.
So which countries do you think are likely to challenge Turkey's application to get doner a special protection label? Do you have any usual suspects in mind?
Yes, two of them. Basically, the first one, that's the neighbors of Turkey, Greece. Greece, for example, could also register for this label. But also, and sometimes it can sound a little bit paradoxical, but Germany as well could be one of these potential suspects, as you say.
So it's not secret Turkey and Greece have been at odds over not only geopolitical disputes, but also foods like kokoreç, baklava, cacık, and dolma. So just 2 years ago, the Turks and the Greeks also fought over the kokoreç, with both sides claiming ownership of the dish and debating which one is more delicious. So is this feud a part of national pride between the two neighbors, or are there any reasons?
Yes, actually, as you introduced me before, I'm a geographer, and for me that's absolutely fascinating to study food, because unfortunately for us, most of the time food does not respect the traditional and administrative borders. So it's definitely possible to find the same recipe or very close recipes from one side and the other side of the same border. It's exactly what is happening and what has happened between Greece and Turkey. It means there are many common dishes. You talked about baklava, about kokoreç, about doner as well. But actually, more than differences, we should talk about common points and, shared common culture in a way.
So is it important because both Turkish people and Greek people, it's not only a street food for them, it's rather as something deeply cultural?
Yes, definitely. And food is like that, basically. When we talk about food, of course, food is a biological need. We need food to survive and not to die. But it refers to cultural, social, identity, ethnic, religious, and so on dimensions in our daily lives, or for more special occasions. So touching about what we consider as our food identity is, in a broader sense, insulting sometimes, or at least being bad with our beloved culture, let's say, or social practices.
So back in 2019, Turkey's simit, a ring-shaped bread popular during breakfast, officially entered into the Oxford English Dictionary. So the question is, how does food serve for a country's cultural influence and their soft power projections abroad?
Your question is absolutely crucial for geography and for politics as well. for, let's say, more than 20 years now, food, cuisine, and gastronomy have become tools for, to increase influence, to increase the reputation of a country. So it's called gastrodiplomacy. It was first, this term was created in 2005 by an American researcher, Paul Rockower. But from these first studies, actually, we have seen in Turkey, of course, but also in Peru, in Thailand, in Senegal as well, in France, of course, the will of governments, public actors, but also private companies, to use a new strategy, new influence strategy to improve the reputation and also to manage with global issues and to find new economic opportunities all around the world. Because talking about, using food to talk about a culture and to show to the rest of the world a good picture of yourself, maybe is one of the best ways to do that.
So besides, let's say, Türkiye and Greece, which other countries come to mind when it comes to protecting the status of their foods?
Oh, there are so many, what we say, food battles or food wars. There are two of them which comes to my mind. The first one is the long and ancient and old battle about hummus between Israel and Lebanon. The second one will be the battle for pavlova, a kind of traditional dessert between Australia and New Zealand. So actually, there are a lot of food battles or gastronomy battles between different countries, sometimes neighboring countries, sometimes far countries. But which is interesting, actually, if these food battles, these food struggles, actually are another expression, another aspect of political, economical tensions between different countries. And food is a wonderful, unfortunately tragic, but wonderful battlefield and symbolic battlefield to express these differences, or also sometimes the collaborations or the common points between different cultures and different countries.
All right, Pierre, unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.